Welcome to Hassle-Free RE, the show where we share tips, tricks, and stories from the short-term rental industry and business alike. Hosted by Dave Menapace and Will Van Wickler. They'll help you navigate the exciting and ever-evolving world of short-term rentals. Whether you're a seasoned host or just starting out, they've got something just for you. In each episode, they'll bring you insider insights, expert advice, and real-life stories from hosts and industry professionals who have been through it all. They'll cover everything from maximizing your rental income and profits to creating unforgettable guest experiences and handling unexpected day-to-day challenges with ease. Are you ready to discover the secrets to running a successful short-term rental business without the hassle? Then let's get started. This is Hassle-Free RE.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another week of some more STR education. So on the show STR Success, I'm Dave Menapace, president of the 5-Star co-host and co-founder of Launchpad STR Consulting. I am joined here by Mr. Will Van Wickler, New England's #1 short-term rental real estate agent. Will, how's it going, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Good. We're always good. I love these
It's a
Thursdays.
good day in real estate, right?
I love when we do these recordings, man. It's always a treat, and I'll admit it. I'll give us a pat on the back. We've been good at finding new topics to keep bringing to the people and help educating folks. And today's really no different with what we got in store for this episode.
That's right. And I'll also say the consistency, right? Most podcasts fail after 5, 6, 7 episodes. How many of these do you see where it's 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
The most consistent thing in my life is my time with Dave every single day.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And if you show up consistently on the podcast, you better believe we show up consistently in our businesses.
Yeah.
So that's the truth. But today we're going to talk about all things being a leading short-term rental agent. What goes into it? What does it mean? How you can become one? We have a lot of real estate agents watch this, or just consumers that are curious, the qualities of a good short-term rental specific real estate agent and how one can scale their business in such a small niche like short-term vacation rentals.
Totally. And the audience for this episode, it's quite wide, right? So I think a lot of folks, I didn't even think about this before the show until now, but there's a lot of hearsay with what might happen with real estate agents and how transactions are going to be working, come this summer. If you are a real estate agent, particularly in a vacation market, or want to start being a real estate agent in a vacation market, this is going to be a really important episode for you to learn how to differentiate yourself and really tailor your practices to a very specific buyer, which is somebody looking to buy a vacation home and rent it out. And if you are a buyer, if you're somebody looking to buy a vacation home, this episode is really going to help arm you, in my opinion, with knowledge of what goes into being a true short-term rental real estate agent and how you can vet agents in a market by asking them some questions and seeing how it compares to the discussion we're going to have today. So with all of that, Will, maybe we just sort of run down. I think it'd be cool for you to actually share how you got into this niche. I'll kind of interview you a little bit here with you being where you are in the industry. How did you first start tailoring your model and being an agent towards helping folks buy short-term rentals?
Yeah. And what I'll also say is I think this could go to anybody in sales too. And even the property management people or co-hosts that watch this, you're in sales too, right? So we're going to talk about creating a value proposition that is so strong that people won't even question what your fee is or what you do, right? So how did I get into this niche? I was a conventional real estate agent just doing residential. And I thought, I want to grow my business, right? And instead of doing what everyone else does, I see there's people with very specific, niches, whether that's first-time home buyers or multifamily or commercial, and they just do that, but they do a great business. And I was thinking, I don't see anybody really, excelling or really crushing it in this like kind of niche Airbnb space as I once believed it, right? I bought my first short-term rental, and I didn't have a lot of education from like real estate agents. It was super foreign. I was just doing, Google research, and AirDNA was in its infant stages at that point, and watching podcasts and just trying to figure this thing out. And I thought, I really think there's a big opportunity in these second home markets to work with people that want to do exactly what I just did. I just don't know what it looks like. I got a agent referral from a KW agent in Boston, and his client wanted to buy a short-term rental. It was my first ever short-term rental investor, right? And he was new. I bought my first one. He wanted to buy at Sunny River, and I was the guy. He interviewed a couple agents, and he said, I like that you're an investor. Help me find one, right? So through that process, I learned a lot myself. He was learning a lot himself as a new agent. And that's when the light bulb moment clicked after that closing. I'm like, I want to do more of this. I just don't know how or what it looks like yet, but I really, really enjoyed helping somebody find a vacation home and find a good investment property. And I really enjoyed being the fiduciary in that transaction instead of just a door opener, right? Somebody that, hey, you call them on Sunday, you want to see the house that afternoon, go open the door. You don't remember their name. You don't remember who they were, how they made you feel. Oh, yeah, they were just a good realtor, and we don't remember their names, so we're not going to call them when we sell. But that's a pretty typical real estate transaction. So I wanted to be the fiduciary in that transaction. That's how I got started, buying my own and then getting a random referral, helping that client through the process. And then you and I met at one point, and now we're here. So super cool.
I love it. I love it. Now, what would you say? What are some of the skills and knowledge base one should really start to key in on or acquire or develop to be able to cater to short-term rental buyers?
Great question. Something I say almost every single day is, at the end of the day, right, buyers have the same information as real estate agents, right? We all have Zillow, Realtor.com. We all have access to information and listings on the internet. That's not what a good short-term rental agent can offer you, right? Yes, it's access to maybe off-market opportunities or new construction and local relationships like that, but you're looking for somebody who's going to be a fiduciary, which means they only do what's best for you, right? So they put your needs instead of their own first. That is backed by data, local knowledge, and can help guide you through the transaction as if they were buying the property themselves. Something you and I talk about a lot is saying no more than we say yes, right? We talk people out of buying houses. We did this a week ago together as one of your consulting clients. We're telling them, do not buy this house. You got to get really good at saying no, and then also being able to back up what you're telling people with real time and real life knowledge, firsthand experience, data, and your professional expertise in the market, right? I cover a lot of markets, but it's for a reason. It's because I know these markets so well that I believe I can help people in them. It's just like a doctor, right? It's a highly specialized niche, and you really need to be an expert. Not saying I'm a doctor, right? But very, very, very specific in this industry, knowing what to do, knowing what works, knowing what doesn't work, and making sure people make the best decisions possible. So first and foremost, it's knowledge, and then having a, kind of servant mindset of putting people before yourself. It's not just a typical real estate sales business where it's flashy cars and Instagram reels and trying to sell pretty houses. We put people first. That's the truth.
Well, in addition to that, a few other sort of things that can help qualify somebody to be a top-notch STR real estate agent, and some things that I've observed from you and like some things that I practice in my business too, is owning a short-term rental yourself and in managing it yourself is going to put you light years ahead of other agents, because you're going to have the important connections that somebody might need, like a cleaner, like a hot tub person or a handyman, but you're also then aware of different trends. Well, what's the booking lead time? Should we make closing on the first of the month to, so you can have the longest runway, right, until your first mortgage payment? Or, well, maybe not though, depending on the time of year, if you have to get stood up quickly before peak season. That is really important information. In my world in Cape Cod, an agent that just says, yeah, I think you can get this much money per week, right away I know they're not a good short-term rental real estate agent. Why? Right. I make a lot more money not doing weekly rentals in Cape Cod, mainly because everyone else does them, right? And I know exactly what that ADR is going to be for a weekday and a weekend day and what my length of stay restrictions are going to be. And you do the same up in Newry and some of the other areas that you own short-term rentals in. So it's about understanding and staying like right at the tip of the spear, like the vanguard of what's happening in that industry and specifically in that market continually, not just like an average blanket statement. Oh, I think you could do this. It's like, go in depth with it, right? Like you and me both, we'll put together pro formas for people. Here's what we think for the projection. You know, a lot of variables still go into that, but here's what you have to be aware of for expenses given a lake market or a mountain market, right? You're going to need to prepare for snow removal and like all these other variables that people don't think of, right? So I think there's just like a lot that goes into it that's a lot different than just being a paper pusher and submitting an offer and maybe being good at negotiations, right? There's how is this going to work from an investment perspective? And to your point, putting the client first, having a firm understanding of what their goals are. Sometimes their goal is not to make a ton of money. It's to offset some expenses and get to use the home. And that's cool too. But knowing that, and to your point, also being able to say no to a client, but you need to have information that tells you that can validate why you're saying no. You know, a pretty house doesn't mean that it's going to make a killing as an STR. Even if it's in a nice market, there could be other variables. The amount of people I see buy short-term rentals in Cape Cod that's just literally 30 feet on the wrong side of the street, and all of a sudden it's not making money because people have to cross a major road to get to the beach with their kids. Like that's going to give you a 30% reduction in revenue off the bat, you know? So all of those little things, I feel like all of these little factors go into it, and it really validates the need for a fiduciary and an expert in a given market. And these are some of the things that you should think about if you're a buyer when qualifying your agent, right? Just the number one sales agent in a market doesn't mean that they know anything about short-term rentals, especially if they do not own one or have not owned one in that market or manage them, so to speak.
Right. What you're looking for is a consultant, right? And that's how I talk about myself is I'm a consultant at the end of the day, right? The properties sell themselves and all the paperwork's the same and everybody kind of does the same thing, right? It's hard to mess up. Well, I see it a lot. It's pretty easy for some people, but the top agents, it's hard for them to mess up the transaction process. But what I always say to people is, you're going to love having me as your agent a month after you close, right? Because that's where the connections and market knowledge come in, is helping you get set up, telling you who to work with and who not to work with, right? That's a big thing. Buying the right place, making sure you understand regulation in the market. Right now, me and my team were undergoing a huge project, going through all of the markets we cover and doing a regulation update, right? It's all knowledge and a little bit of transaction knowledge, but it's mainly market knowledge and helping somebody understand how to make money, everything from walking through a house, which you and I did recently, telling somebody you need to set it up this way, right? It only sleeps 9 right now. It needs to sleep 12 so you can get 30% more revenue, because in this price point, that's what people are going to expect. Small, nerdy things like that, but that's what you really need to look for, is a consultant that happens to have a real estate license.
Totally. Oh, I totally agree. What are some other things that, you know, if somebody's really trying to hone in their skills at becoming a top short-term rental agent, anything else you can think of that maybe they want to or should start focusing in on, or skills to develop?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is expanding your network, right? Have great people for everything that your clients need, right? Make sure you've got awesome cleaner, awesome electricians, because at the end of the day, that's what people are really looking for, is the connections. If you are going to invest out of state or even in state, right? You want to make sure the person you're working with has awesome contacts that have been vetted by you. So start having those conversations with people. And that way you'll have an awesome database of vendors, because that is a huge value proposition I offer people, is personally vetted vendors that I've worked with myself, I trust, and I use every single day on my own properties. And that's a great first kind of step to do, and a great value add for clients. Even if you're a property manager or a local business owner, it's great to have a database of people, because what are people always looking for is resources, right? So being that information source for investors and owners, even if they've already sold or bought a property, is just a great value add. So that's what I would say is a great first step. And then understanding the regulation and understanding the local market. It's so much more than just numbers and being on STR Insights. And these are great tools. But if you don't know the market, you haven't driven there in person, you don't understand where the local businesses are, you don't know the key players, it's really hard to advise people, right? Like we'll talk about Sunday River. There's a lot of new construction properties that are happening around the Androscoggin River. We have to drive around. On a map, it doesn't look that far, right? I saw somebody ask the other day if a bridge was going to get installed, right? I know a bridge is not going to get installed, right? And although it takes 18 minutes today, in the winter, that's going to take close to 30 minutes, right? So it's knowing the market so well in person, knowing who the key players are. And although you're kind of going to be playing, data analyst and you're going to be behind a computer a lot, you have to have that in-depth field knowledge as a short-term rental agent. So those are the two things. Start to grow your local network and then spend some time in these markets in person and understand what's actually going on.
Yeah, to your point, you and I are always refining our vendor list. Who's doing good work, who's not doing good work, who needs to be reevaluated as somebody we refer out, who needs to be added to the list of somebody, of folks that we refer out. And to be honest, if you're an agent starting to build your business, these vendors that really support the operations of the home and like the local market, they're going to be your number one lead source at some point too. And also other real estate agents, right? This is quite niche. And a lot of times these vacation markets, there's still residential homes that are bought and sold. And don't be scared to, I don't want to say make friends with your competition, but don't look at it as that. But just always see how you can lead with value and bring value to people, because when somebody knows that you're a specialist in a certain type of area and you've brought them value or helped them sell a home or buy a home or whatever it is, they're going to want to return that value right back to you. And I know for me in my real estate, being a real estate agent, a property manager, as well as having the consulting business with Launchpad Consulting, all of those businesses, they're fed 100% from referrals from people. That's how those businesses run and how we get new clients, 100% from referrals. And so, for me being in the space, that's what I'm always doing, leading with value, try and help support other people in their business, and it comes right back. So
yeah, I've helped run numbers for competing real estate agents in my market. And that's something I'm happy to do, right? Because people know I'm a specialist. And it's just like if you broke your foot, you probably wouldn't go to quick care for like a surgery, right? You might go there, oh my God, I broke my foot, but you go to see a specialist, right? So if you're having a crazy surgery, you're going to see the best surgeon, right? So if you're going to buy an investment property or invest in real estate, you want to work with that specialist. And that's me. And I tell people, I'm probably not the guy to, work with a first-time home buyer, right? Like I help friends out and stuff like that, but that's not my focus, right? And I'm the first to tell people like that's really not what I excel at. What I excel at is helping people make great decisions with real estate investing, right? But other agents know I'm there to lend a hand, right? People reach out to me all the time that don't buy with me, right? Well, I wouldn't say all the time. Sometimes it comes up a couple of years maybe, but that are asking for help in consulting, right? And it's just being a good person and putting out what you can, and what you can do is just help people, because you never know who they know, right? And who they can shoot your way. So you never do it for that reason, but just being a good person, it also makes you a better investor and better consultant. If you're helping more people out, you got to put your reps in and come up with what are the common questions? What are the common problems? How can we help people not make those mistakes, really?
Totally. Well, my friend, we're coming up on time here. Any parting words before we wrap it up for the day?
I want to ask you something.
Yeah, let's have it.
What is a market you have your eye on right now? I'm going to put you right on the spot. Totally flip it.
Oh, man. I don't like talking about this openly too much.
Well, Kenny Bedwell asked me this on his podcast. I'm like, I was hoping he'd cut it out. I'm like, I don't want to put this out there, but now I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And the reason is, and I will share a market. Generally speaking, I get protective over markets that I'm really, really close in. not because I don't want people to go there, but because I don't want people to disrupt the fabric of the community. And I've seen that happen in certain markets. So what I will say is my favorite market, it's an area. It's south of Boston, and it's in Massachusetts, up through Cape Cod. I do love in the Cape Cod market. What I found to be great year-round spots, I'll say, is like Falmouth, Mashpee. Like you just have a lot, Hyannis, a lot of good commercial stuff happening there. I will also say though, like anywhere that's in an hour and a half radius of Boston that's along the coast does very, very well. So I love, not everywhere allows STRs, but for example, Old Orchard Beach, Saco, Kennebunkport, Ogunquit, those are amazing, amazing, amazing areas because Ogunquit's only like an hour north of Boston, and you're going to get amazing year-round traffic there. Same thing the other way, south of Boston, down through like Plymouth, and like so Boston down through to Cape Cod. People from Massachusetts love those areas because sometimes they don't want to fight the Cape Cod traffic, and Boston does not allow short-term rentals. They do, but it's very nuanced, just like Portland, Maine. Like you have to live in the home. So you have a few multifamilies that have Airbnbs, but it's few and far between. And at that point, if it's me, I'm staying in a hotel. I'm not staying in somebody's apartment, period. So, you know, as you start to work down the coastline, there are certain areas where it's allowed, and it's STRs are allowed. You just got to be careful. Again, these are residential areas that happen to be very, very, very good for STR as well because of proximity to Boston as well as Cape Cod and other areas. If you're going to go there and you're going to do this business, do it right. Don't disrupt the community. Don't, you know, there's ways to do it. And as a consultant, I'm happy to teach, educate, and help folks on that. Just go over to Launchpad Consulting, lp.consulting, and we can talk about it. But I've been super bullish on Massachusetts and in some of these areas, like an hour north of Boston and an hour south of Boston, to the tune that we've actually been moving out of a lot of markets and just keying in on Massachusetts and Sunday River, and a few other very, very select pockets. But that's also where I've set up home base. So it's not that all these markets I'm leaving are bad. That's absolutely not the case. It's just we're sort of at a point, a maturity stage in our business where it makes sense to double down where we have really strong teams that we've built over the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Right.
So, yeah. So I'll leave it at that. How is that for an answer? Is that good?
I like the teaser. Hey, if you want more info, you got to connect with Dave. But I think, that's the lesson, though, is think outside of the box and do a little bit more digging. You don't just chase where people are going, right? There's a lot of really great markets, and some of the best markets are where I'm working with the least number of people right now, which is so interesting to me. And that's emerging, right? So emerging markets are out there. And if you want to buy a house, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts with Dave, we've got you literally covered for all of New England. Dave does consulting as well, and we're happy to help find and then teach you how to manage your next short-term rental investment property. So
that's right. So you can hit up willvanwickler.com. You can hit up me, davemenapace.com. Either one, you can get in touch with us. We're happy to help you. And there's a property for everyone. Like I honestly can think of a handful in the Cape that are 500K or less. I can think of others off the Cape, usually about a million or more, but still hitting 10 to 20% cash on cash return in year one. That's not including any cost seg benefits or anything like that. So there's opportunity out there, even at interest rates where they are. It's just knowing where to buy. So
that's the truth.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, my friend.
Yeah, I can't wait for next week. We got a good one coming. And until next time, I'll catch you later, Dave.
See ya.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Hassle-Free RE. We hope you found today's tips and stories as inspiring and useful as I did. Remember, success in the short-term rental industry is all about learning, adapting, and staying one step ahead. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to leave us a review or comment on your favorite platform. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners like you. Plus, we'd love to hear your thoughts and any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and follow us at HassleFreeRE on social media for more tips and updates. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep it hassle-free.